it's Paris and I'm back with another video. So today I just wanted to share with you guys a revelation that God gave me as I was driving, okay? So basically I was studying this morning, and I felt like I knew what God was telling me, but I didn't know that I needed a revelation until He gave me the revelation as I was driving earlier. So anyways, I'm going to be coming from 1 Samuel chapter 17, and then we're also going to read Nehemiah chapter 4, okay? So get your Bibles out and let's get this started. So 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 27 says, "And David received the same reply as before. What you have been hearing is true. That is the reward for killing the giant." But when David's oldest brother, Eliab, heard David talking to the men, he was angry. "What are you doing around here anyway?" he demanded. "What about those few sheep you're supposed to be taking care of? I know about your pride and dishonesty. You just want to see the battle." "What have I done now?" David replied. "I was only asking a question." He walked over to some others and asked them the same thing and received the same answer. Then David's question was reported to King Saul, and the king sent for him. Okay, so in this story, if you guys don't know already about David and Goliath, basically David, before he killed Goliath, he was basically seeking, an answer to see what would be done for the person who killed Goliath. Okay, he really wanted to know because God had laid it on his heart, okay, to be the one to basically kill Goliath. Everybody else that was already a soldier, okay, David wasn't even a soldier, but everybody else who was a soldier, they were scared to kill Goliath. All right, so David was the one who stepped up. God was the one who chose David to step up because everybody else was scared. Okay, so when David, starts going around asking people, what is going to be the reward for killing the giant, right? And so here is David's brother, looking at him like, who do you think you are? You think you're going to be the one to kill Goliath? And the reason why his brother was basically, talking to him like that was because he had insecurity in himself. He had insecurity within himself. Since he was too scared to do the job, he felt like, well, David is a nobody. And how I knew that he felt like David was nobody, because he said, "What about those few sheep you're supposed to be taking care of?" So you're looking down on your brother because he's taking care of sheep. All right, but yet you're a soldier and you're scared to fight Goliath. All right. So let's talk about insecurity. All right. So these people who see you basically trying to pursue your purpose, they see you trying to pursue your purpose, and they're wondering, like, why did God choose you? Why did God choose you? All right. Why did He choose you? Why are you so concerned about something that doesn't concern you? Why don't you go back to your little sheep and, tend to them? And I'm pretty sure Eliab was probably thinking, like, you're not even a soldier. Why are you so concerned about my job? But again, Eliab was too scared to do the job. All right. So that's why God had to find somebody who didn't have an ego. God had to find somebody who was humble to do the job. All right. So what am I telling you? God is calling you to do the job. People are going to mock you because He has chosen you. All right. God has given those same people a chance to do the job, but they're too scared. They're living in fear. They're not living out of faith. And so they're looking at you because you're trying to fix the problem. They're looking at you because you're so concerned. And they're thinking, I've been in this job all this time. I've been seeing this go on and on and on. And why do you want to change things now? Why do you think that you're going to be the one to change things, right? And so that's how David's brother was. Like, he was just thinking, like, if we can't fight Goliath, why do you think that you're going to fight Goliath? Why don't you go back to tending your sheep, okay? So anyways, he was fine. Eliab was fine with, everybody else fearing Goliath. But David was like, no, somebody's got to step up to this giant. All right. So maybe God has called you to step up to something. Maybe God has called you to speak up about something. Okay. And you're the only one speaking up about it. You're the only one doing something about it. All right. Because everybody else around you is scared. Everybody else around you is basically living in fear. They're scared to say something. They see the same things you see. They see the same Goliath you see. But yet they're going to keep their mouth shut because they're too scared. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to lose their clients. Like just whatever your situation is, they are living in fear, and God has called you. He has called you because you're humble. He has called you because you don't have an ego like them. God has chosen you for the job. And so they're looking at you like, why are you so concerned? Why don't you just go back and just, don't say anything? They want you to keep your mouth shut just like everybody else. They want you to basically just watch everything happen. They want you to just watch all the chaos and basically live in a safe zone. You cannot play it safe when it comes to God. You cannot play it safe when it comes to God. I see so many so-called Christians who are playing it safe. You're playing it safe because you're too scared to say something because you don't want to lose your job. You're too scared to say something because you don't want to ruff up any feathers. You're scared about what people are going to talk about you. You're scared about what people are going to say about you. So that keeps you from basically doing God's will. You can't live like that. If you're someone that lives like that, stop now. Stop living in your comfort zone. You're going to have to get out of that comfort zone. You're going to have to get out of that comfort zone, okay? And I'm not fussing at you if that is you. But what I'm saying is you're going to have to get out of that comfort zone because God is using people who are not only humble, but who are willing to step out and speak up, who are willing to, go out on faith, who are willing to be talked about, who are willing to be mocked. All right? It's so crazy because God always places me in situations to where he wants me to either deliver people from or he wants me to expose people. He always places me in jobs to where he wants me to deliver people from or expose people. And so with that being said, before I even get to these places, God has already chosen other people. And those people decided that they were too scared to do it. So God had to come and find somebody else. God had to bring me in because he knows I'm going to do something about it. When I see something going on, I can't keep quiet. I can't just watch somebody else suffer. I can't just watch someone, go through something knowing that they don't have to go through something. I can't just keep my mouth shut. I can't just keep my mouth shut and see other people be oppressed. I can't just keep my mouth shut and see other people's lives go into ruin. I have to do something about it. I have to speak up. So just like Moses and whoever else in the Bible, God has called certain people to be deliverers. Okay, maybe he has chosen you to deliver people because there's too many people, especially Christians. There's too many people out there living in their comfort zone. They're too scared to speak up, and so God has to choose somebody else. God has to send somebody like me to go out and speak up, because I promise you, I don't mind. I promise you, I don't mind getting into trouble for God. So let these people mock you. So let these people, misunderstand your purpose. They don't understand. They don't understand your purpose, okay? And that's okay because God didn't call them. Or maybe he did and, they chose that they were too scared to do it. But now God is calling you. He has chosen you because you're humble. He's chosen you because you don't have an ego. He has chosen you because you're willing to speak out. He has chosen you because you're willing to go out on faith, in faith. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk about, or the next thing that I want to read is Nehemiah chapter 4. Okay. So before I read, let me just give you guys some insight. So basically, God had placed it on Nehemiah's heart to rebuild the wall. I don't know what wall it's called, but we just gonna, the wall of Jerusalem. Okay. So God has basically placed it on Nehemiah's heart to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, right? And so just to give you guys a little context, the wall of Jerusalem is ruined. All right. It is just ruined. Everything is just basically torn down. All right. And no one is doing anything about it. Everybody is ignoring the problem. It seems like nobody cares. But God placed it on Nehemiah's heart to have concern about rebuilding it again. All right. And so I'm going to start at Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 1. All right. And it says, when Sanballat when he heard we were rebuilding the wall, he exploded in anger, vilifying the Jews. In the company of his Samaritan cronies and military, he let loose. What are these miserable Jews doing? Do they think they can get everything back to normal overnight? Make building stones out of make-believe? At his side, Tobiah the Ammonite jumped in and said, "That's right. What do they think they're building? Why, if a fox climbed that wall, it would fall into pieces under his weight." Nehemiah prayed, "Oh, listen to us, dear God. We're so despised. Boomerang their ridicule on their heads. Have their enemies cart them off as war trophies to a land of no return. Don't forgive their iniquity. Don't wipe away their sin. They've insulted the builders. We kept at it, repairing and rebuilding the wall. The whole wall was soon joined together and halfway to its extended height because the people had a heart for the work." So I'm going to stop right there, y'all. So what I want you to see between these two different scriptures, okay, between David and Nehemiah, they both care about what God cares about. All right. So in David's situation, we have the Goliath. The Goliath is basically tormenting God's people. Okay. Basically, he's basically, using his size to make God's people fear him. Right. And so with that being said, God had called David to be concerned about the problem because he knew that David was going to basically conquer Goliath, right? And here we have with Nehemiah. Nehemiah saw that, the wall of Jerusalem was ruined. Nobody was even thinking about building it. Nobody was even concerned, okay? Nobody was even concerned. So God placed it on his heart to be the one to rebuild it. And then here we have, what's his name? Here we have Sanballat. I don't know what kind of name that is. But anyway, here we have Sanballat. It says, he exploded in anger. And he said, "What are these miserable Jews doing? Do they think that they can get everything back to normal overnight?" My thing is, why are you mad if you weren't even trying to do anything about it? If somebody is trying to do something about it, why are you mad? What does it concern you? Why are you mad that God has chosen somebody to rebuild the wall, yet you knew that the wall needed to be rebuilt? All right, so here we go again with that insecurity. These people are insecure because they see that you're going to be the one to change things. They see that you're going to be the one to do God's will. And so they're going to do everything they can to stop you. They're going to do everything they can to mock you, to make you feel bad, to make you feel like, you shouldn't be the one to deliver God's people, or you shouldn't be the one to change that problem, right? And so another thing that David and Nehemiah had in common is that they kept going. They kept going. When David's brother said something to him and he was like, you need to go back and tend those little sheep. Do you know what David did? He turned around and he asked somebody else. He kept going. He wasn't worried about his brother. He was focused on the mission. Just like Nehemiah. When Nehemiah heard what was being done, he prayed about it. He prayed to God. And then what does it say in verse 6? We kept at it, repairing and rebuilding the wall. So what does that tell you guys? When people have something to say about you, when they see that you're the one to change things, when they have that insecurity because God chose you and not them, you keep going. Don't let them try to stop you. You stay focused on the mission. You stay focused on whatever God has told you to do. You stay focused on your purpose. God has called you to that thing for a reason. Okay? For a reason. Because he knows that you're going to be the one to deliver those people. You're going to be the one who actually cares. You're going to be the one to actually repair things. I have so many testimonies that I can share to you guys about how God has placed me in particular places. And it's mostly been my jobs. Like, when I tell you I have so many jobs, I've had so many jobs to where God has placed me in these different places, right? And he has called me to be a deliverer in each place. All right. Every time he places me somewhere, there's a problem and he wants me to fix it. All right. Or maybe there's something that has been going on for so long in this job or at this school or just whatever. Maybe you see your clients being mistreated. Maybe you see, your coworkers being mistreated. And maybe these people have been mistreated for years. Maybe that building has been in ruins for years and no one cared about it. Or either they did care and they were too scared. And so God has to bring somebody all the way from Alabama, like me, all the way from Alabama to Texas to solve a problem. All right? So God may bring you from a state to another state just to fix a problem, just to deliver some people, just to heal some people. When I tell you, when God places you somewhere, he's not placing you just so that, you can get paid. Because I promise you, me being at my job that I have right now, it is not about just making money. I promise you it's not about just making money. God has a purpose. That's why you have to know your purpose, guys. It is important to know your purpose because God doesn't place you in these places for no reason. He didn't place you at that job for no reason. He didn't place you at that school for no reason. He didn't place you in that house for a reason. For no reason. There's a reason why God does things. He wants you to speak up. He wants you to deliver his people. He wants you to expose some people. There's some people in this world that's been doing things and getting away with it. And God is sending you. He's sending you to expose those people. He's sending you to speak up. I'm going to tell you guys one testimony. And I'm going to get off here because I realize it's going to be a long video. But I used to work at Panera Bread back in Alabama, right? And basically what happened was I had a particular manager. Okay. He was a guy. I had a manager and he was cool with everybody. I was even cool with them. But what I noticed was that he was using any small excuse to touch on the women. I mean, any small excuse. Because if you worked at Panera Bread and you worked in the back of the house, okay? Because I was in the back of the house. I was, basically just making everything, right? So the space was tight, okay? It was tight. Like, it was just enough room for, two people to get by, but you still had to say, excuse me, because you could, easily bump into someone. So this particular manager, when he would walk by, he would grab the women or he would grab us on our waist and say, excuse me. And I remember thinking to myself, is it just me, or is he just trying to touch me? So, I didn't say anything at first. Because I was like, maybe it's just me, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Because, we cool with him, right? But then he just, I started to notice he kept doing it. And I was like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Then God is so good. What God ended up doing is he sent one of my coworkers to me. And she came to me and she was like, Pears, she was like, I gotta tell you something. And I said, okay, what's up? And so she was like, so-and-so, I'm not going to say his name, but she was like, so-and-so, she said, I kind of feel like, he's touching me. And I was like, where? And so she told me, and I was like, confirmation. So what I've been feeling, it wasn't just me. Like, he really was touching us, sexual harassment. So with that being said, the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because God had showed it to me first. Okay, he showed it to me first. I didn't know what to do with it, but he showed it to me first. Then he allowed my coworker to come to me and tell me about it. Do you know why? Because he wanted me to do something about it. Do you see why I'm telling you, God does not just call you to a job just to make money. Sometimes he wants you to deliver some people. Sometimes he wants you to speak up. And you know what I did, right? I spoke up. I went to my boss's boss and I told him, and I said, hey, I like my boss, but he's been doing some things, to other women. And come to find out, me and my coworker weren't the only ones. Okay. It was other people. So I was going around trying to see who else it was. And so I put it in the email and I sent it to my boss's boss. All right. So with that being said, the manager, I don't think he, well, at least I don't think he got fired or nothing before I left. I think they kind of gave him some guidelines, but I don't think he got fired. But the thing is, God allowed me to open my mouth. He allowed me to open my mouth because this manager was doing this for so long, thinking that he can get away with it. And when I went and I spoke up, when I tell you, after my boss's boss spoke to him, when I tell you, every time he walked by me, he made sure I got out of the way first, okay? And so what I'm trying to tell you is that maybe you won't get the result that you think you're going to get. But when I tell you, when these people are exposed, they're gonna be thinking about their every move because they don't think that someone is actually gonna speak up. Because they've been getting away with this thing for so long. All right, they've been not concerned with this thing for so long, and so here you are, making changes, making faith moves. Okay, here you are delivering God's people, and they're wondering like, why were you even concerned? Like this has been going on. Like I said, with this particular manager, he had been doing this for years, okay? He had been doing this for years, but I was the one to expose him. So what I'm telling you is that God has called you for a purpose. You're not at that job for no reason. You're not at that school for no reason. You're not in that household for no reason. God has called you for a purpose, all right? So I will see you guys in my next video, and I hope that you walk in your purpose, okay? Talk to you guys later. Bye, y'all.